Hello and welcome to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. And yes, this is the end of a special series, Steve, a subset of the original series of 30-plus episodes where we have done 4 recap episodes to capture the highlights, the moments of triumph, the levels of awe that we have achieved over the past more than 15 weeks in lockdown.
I think you're right. I think well, no, you've not overhyped it depending on how you mean awe. If it's kind of like the levels of, we've achieved that. I think people watched this and made that sound.
I mean, to be fair, we started this from nothing, just 2 little boys with a webcam.
Yeah.
And in their homes, and it's grown into a movement.
But the tech really has changed. It's unbelievable.
It has changed.
It started out with, so you bought a good webcam, but I used the webcam that was on a laptop and had no lighting, and it was an absolute mess. And slowly but surely, we couldn't do anything. We just talked, and then the signal didn't hold out. Then we started adding clips, did songs. We can do fake interviews. We can play in pre-recorded bits. This is a upgraded webcam. Got the lights on me as well. I was going to try and show you.
And we occasionally tell a joke.
Well, I mean, you got to focus on the things you know and love. And for me, it's
focus on what we can control.
It started off with 1 computer each. Went through a weird bit in between where I had 5. At one point, to try and get it streamed to all the different places, I had 5 computers, all being remotely controlled from 1. I've boiled it back down to 2 again. But good times.
Good times. But yeah, so this is us, the last 4 episodes, well, including this one, 4 episodes of us just kind of looking back at the fun that we've had, some of our best moments over the last 15 weeks of lockdown, making this show for everybody.
Yeah. So the first clip that I picked for today's one, again, it's to do with like the lessons that I learned and the ability to do things differently rather than episode 1, stare at the camera and go, is this thing on? And by the time we come around to doing different like treatments to the stories, this one was applied to when we started to hear the technology of the COVID tracker thing, the track and trace. Okay. There's going to be apps involved and computers. And then little did we know at the time, none of it seemed to work. And now apparently it's pen and pencil. In fact, I went
better.
Yeah, I went to, our tech is way better than the government. I actually went to a place to have a beer and a pizza. And they said, because of track and trace, could you just put your name and number down on there? And there was a sheet of paper and a pencil taped to the thing. What? I know where I'm going to catch it from. What the hell is going on here?
Hold on, just let me.
I don't know.
There you go.
HB. So yeah. But back when we did this clip, we thought technology was going to save us. And here's what we did with it. Find out more about this, I wanted to do a little special feature where I am joined by a scientist on the line. Should be joining me now. Hello.
Hello.
Good to have you with us. Right, thank you. I think the line's going to hold. I just wonder if you could tell us a little about how this Isle of Wight app is going to work.
Certainly. It uses Bluetooth and will store details of who you've been near. If you get symptoms, it can alert anyone that you've spent time with.
Okay, I think I understand how that will work. Could you give us an example?
If you're found to have coronavirus, it could inform your wife, your sister, your cousin.
Okay.
And seeing as this is the Isle of Wight, that could just be one text.
Are you doing an incest joke? It's a cheap joke, and also we're in lockdown. Who else are we going to be doing it with?
Okay. And I did want to address the concerns about privacy. Yes, it is tracking you, but try to look at the benefits. It means that if someone nicks your phone, just get someone you know to pretend to have the virus, the robber will get the alert and shit themselves. They might even hand the phone back.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. A scientist. Interesting stuff there. There you go. That's what we did with that. Another clip.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I think yes, this journey that we've been on in making this show that we hope that you've enjoyed, and
we'll continue to enjoy. I don't want to make it seem like we're done.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we might be, obviously as we sort of come out of quarantine, we may be rejigging things a little bit, but we still probably won't be doing much live work, so we'll still be here, still solving problems. I think that's the knack that we've proven. I think the quarantine part I failed at. But the solving problems thing.
It's true. When we were brainstorming the name of it, we eventually settled on Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems, and then really early on realised we were in lockdown. We weren't in quarantine.
Yeah, but that didn't sound as good.
Yeah.
Comics lockdown, solving problems. And then the first couple episodes, we kept saying the title wrong anyway.
Oh, I still have to read it from the screen. That's the only reason it's in the corner.
When I was going through the clips to put into this show, there was a couple where you were interested, like, well, welcome to comedians perplexed by the title of their own show. Is what we've had there. But while Steve has really grown in his ability to demonstrate that he can act with himself, or as some people would say, play with himself over the last few weeks and months.
I play with myself, and that's why I need glasses.
Yeah, exactly. And those are just, I won't say that. I was going to call him a splash guard, but that would be too much.
It's true.
These are the things we don't say in the show. But see how meta I'm being. It's in the show. Anyway, my passion has been for years, in many of the shows I've done in the past, live, when we could do live comedy, is playing with clips. And sometimes taking the news, spinning off the news, sometimes reversing those clips a little bit. And so this clip that we're going to show you is where I got to play with some clips. Trump manages to take a moment that should not be about him. It should be about police brutality in the United States and the militarization of the U.S. police, and about Black Lives Matter. That's what this should really be about. But of course, Trump can't have anything not be about him. And the question came up about, why did he go to that church? Why did he, clear out the protesters? Why did he have them tear gassed, have them pepper bombed, which I didn't even know was a thing until now? And so why did he go there? And he tried to say he had a good reason, or his press secretary did.
Going and standing by St. John's Church was a very important moment. And I would note that through all of time, we've seen presidents and leaders across the world who have had leadership moments and very powerful symbols that were important for a nation to see at any given time to show a message of resilience and determination. Like Churchill, we saw him inspecting the bombing damage. It sent a powerful message of leadership to the British people. And George W. Bush throwing out the ceremonial first pitch after 9/11. And Jimmy Carter putting on a sweater to encourage energy savings, and George H.W. Bush signing the Americans with Disabilities Act, flanked by 2 disabled Americans.
I mean, yes, you're right, Kaylee. I mean, wow, the bravery of Donald Trump displayed, having all the protesters cleared out for him so he could go to the church that had been vandalized the day before. He's just as brave as Churchill going out and standing among the wreckage of the Blitz, just like that brave Jimmy Carter putting on a sweater. Nothing says bravery like putting on a sweater, or being like George H.W. Bush and having the courage to stand next to 2 disabled people. I mean, who would do that? You never know what they're going to do. I mean, they've got their little motorized chairs. They might run your feet over. My God, Trump is a hero. But I mean, it is a big deal whenever a president of the United States takes a walk outside of the White House. I mean, you can see how dangerous it is.
How are you? I'm Dan Bishop.
Dan, good to see you.
Can we get a picture with you?
God, I miss him so much. I mean, you didn't see before that happened. I mean, he literally had his soldiers out there mowing down hundreds of people. They did that. But I mean, God, it's just a different kind of president. I mean, what I really want to be is I want to be this woman.
How are you?
Karen, I'm so excited.
Give me a hug. I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited.
Can I get a picture?
Yes, you
can.
can.
Oh my gosh, it's like the best day of my life.
Yeah, you gotta...
Oh, I can feel him. You can just see his hand reaching down, giving her that little, I want to be her. I want to be touched by Barack. But what we can't miss out on is, in a way, Trump uses everything as a distraction, right? He's managed to, in many ways, move the narrative off of what we should be talking about and onto him. And he's working on the things that we're always worried about. I mean, one of the things, we've got a clip of here. He's starting, you can't, this guy is sly, right? He's still starting to put up his wall. I think we've got pictures of it, don't we? And look at that. While this is all going on, you can see that he's still got people putting up the wall, to keep people out and spend all of this money that is just ridiculous and unnecessary, and it's not going to change anything, is it? He's managed to get what he wants. Look, here it is. There's the pleated wall around the White House. So I bet Melania's looking at that wall and she's thinking, oh boy, I'd like one of those. Because that's the way Melania sounds.
There is a chance that wall's there to keep her in rather than other people out.
I would imagine so. It protects us all if he just stays in there. Now, obviously, social media is coming to it because basically he stood in front of the church that he went to and he held up a Bible. Of course, social media people come in, and one of the things they did is they started sending around this picture because they've said that he's just fascist and holding a Bible there like he's never touched one. And that next to him there, that other guy on the left, in case you don't recognize him, is Hitler holding a Bible. Now, it turns out that that photo is fake. And Trump supporters have been really clear about that this is a fake photo. That is not true. Hitler never held a Bible like that because Hitler would never use a Bible as a prop.
Bad times.
That was a good one. See how I'm trying to sell it? I'm bigging it up.
Yep.
Those were good times, Steve. It's good times. Takes me back.
Yeah, well, it's what we're doing. We're playing our favourite times over the last 30 episodes. Before I do think, as the show continues, we know that we have some exciting things in the next few weeks about where the show goes, where the show ends up. Maybe, just maybe, there might be a little bit of news about the data rate that we managed to stream via the internet. And no one's going to tell the difference, but that stuff just keeps me happy.
Data rate. I love a good data rate.
Screen resolution. We've got it all.
It's there. It's there.
And that kind of thing was part of what I enjoyed, right? Doing all the tech side of it, really getting nerdy with working out how to edit, myself talking to myself, all this business. But then what's wrong with a good old-fashioned play a clip of an idiot and then talk about an idiot?
That's old school. Old school comedy.
Yeah, and actually, we've all seen other people doing stuff online saying, "Oh, I wish I could play clips or whatever." And it's not actually that technically difficult, but it is so much fun. I mean, just in episode 30, if you go back to that recently, there was the Chinese ambassador who was just playing clips and being sarcastic. But for me, my favourite one was this because it kind of disses your home nation.
What? How could you?
Happened in America.
We're not going to let you come into our country. Actually, we won't right now because we won't let British people come.
But also, you're not allowed here either. So
that's true.
Yeah, fair's fair. So which bizarre, isn't it? To see, it's bizarre. I feel bad about saying harsh things about America, especially because recently I watched Hamilton. I feel guilt trip there.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not my fault. The person that is the focus of this clip decided to go to the beach and do something very, very silly indeed. I'm not going to describe it in any more detail. Just watch and remember that people like this in the world exist. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Hurrah! Lockdown freedom beckons. And I think it makes a lot of sense, because if you've got the highest death rates in Europe, why not ease some lockdown? More people dying is not going to change our place on that league table. So it's the time to go for it. And a lot of people have been criticising the government. You know me, Eric. I'm always here to defend the government. Do you realise we could have been in a situation where we had the worst death rates in the EU, and now we don't, because the government did something about that. They left the EU. So
believe in Britain.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
If we could leave the continent, we could really narrow down the league tables that we're at the top of. But so a lot of people have been saying maybe it's too soon. Even I'm not ready to go out. I'm a little bit scared that I want them to release some liberties that don't actually impact us at all. They should give us the freedom to do things that we don't want to do, which actually they are saying we could exercise more than one time a day. And I'll be like, oh, thanks. Shit, not going to do it. But thank you for the liberty. They could allow us to leave the house if we're going to go to a cinema to watch the film version of the musical Cats. Thank you for the offer. I'm not going to do it. So that's, I think if they do that, we won't fight too much. The problem is if they give up too much liberties like they've done elsewhere, there'll be some pushback. In America, people have been allowed to go to the beaches, and it's worried some people, so much so they did this. Roll the tape.
Residents and tourists across Walton County beaches were in for quite a scare Friday afternoon.
You know, when we first saw him, it was a little bit scary and didn't know exactly what was going on.
Villarreal is talking about the Grim Reaper, or Florida lawyer Daniel Ulfelder.
I mean, if you thought he was scary when he was the Grim Reaper, it turns out he's a lawyer. Yeah. My favourite person in all of that clip is the guy who was like, well, first when we saw him, we didn't really know what it was. We thought it was a goth that was trying to get a tan. Then we thought maybe it's a Johnny Cash tribute act who just ain't no good at guessing clothes sizes. But then we realized it was the Grim Reaper. So we were like, Nana, I think this one's for you. There we go. Another classic example of some of the stuff that we get up to on this here show.
Classic Steve there, ladies and gentlemen. Classic Steve. This now, I mean, yeah, we did. I think probably if we added up the subjects we've covered, politics gets a good go at different things because it does create a lot of problems in the world, and we are here to solve those problems. Again, since we've been talking about the tech this episode, this was the one of the first where I was overlaying sound in what was not, perhaps, maybe you will realize, there'll be a point in this where you'll realize where I might have added some sound.
Nice.
I don't want to give it away, but part of it's real and part of it's not. But the actual clip itself of the sound was quite well known. So I was so pleased with what I did in this particular bit that I took it and I copied the name of what you would search if you wanted to hear the original of this. And I made the clip that I made look exactly like what people would go for to find the real news story. And I think that clip ended up actually getting more views than the show.
You are fake news.
I'm fake news. And I'm, you know what? Yeah. I'm proud of it.
Donald Trump was right.
Yep. We're who he's talking about. It's a big PR coup.
Yeah. He's a big fan of the show. He watches a lot.
Big fan of the show. Big fan. I mean, yeah. He doesn't know if he is or not. But yes. So enjoy this and a little bit of sound editing from me. Well, this is another story back from the U.S. That I know something that you are really passionate about and you ask me about all the time, which is the Supreme Court.
One of my favorite courts.
One of your favorite courts. It is supreme. Now, traditionally, the Supreme Court is one of the most reclusive parts of the American government, or as Trump would call it, the deep state that wants to destroy him. And they don't traditionally allow cameras in the courtroom or actually even allow any of its proceedings to be broadcast in public. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but of the 9 justices, I think, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is like 150 years old. Okay. And then the rest are in their high 100. They're all old. So this is a particular risky time for them. So they've been doing the court proceedings by distance, down the line on the phone, but they're allowing the court proceedings to be heard and broadcast around the world for the very first time in U.S. history. Right. But of course, just like any Zoom call or anything else that is happening these days in the workplace, there's been some little hiccups every now and then. And earlier this week, they were on the call, and one of the lawyers was making his case, and you could hear in the background somebody flush a toilet. Now, I mean, these are older people. That's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I mean, when you got to go, you got to go. And you can hear the clip. We've got the clip. It's brilliant.
Going to be saying, hey, call your congressman and change these laws that apply to banks. And what the FCC has said is that when you're going to be saying, hey, call your congressman and change these laws that apply. The subject matter of the call ranges to the stop.
Never again do you get to call me childish in any of the bits that we do.
Well, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And it is proof that America is going down the crapper.
Delightful. This is the satire that people come here for.
The best of times.
The best of times, the worst of times, but we edit out the worst of times.
We did. That's the advantage of watching our recap shows, is you can't see the worst of the times. Not that there were any worst of times other than the episodes like my birthday episode, which was a complete disaster because of the internet. And it was a special day for me. I had family watching.
Yeah. Oh, bless.
It was very emotional.
There was one where someone in the comment section on Twitch or DLive, some place that's not one of our main outputs, was saying something like, your jokes are worse than a Netflix original. I mean, I'd take a slice of that.
Yeah.
We'll do this on Netflix.
Find out if that's true.
Yeah, write to them and let's put it to the test. They might send us some better likes. So for another one that I've picked in terms of a story, again, this is me trying to get in on your action and talking about Trump, but also talking about the technology side of it, because Twitter. We both use Twitter as a way of plugging the show. We both make clips from this, and those shorter clips end up on like Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. Just try and plug it and spread the word. So look, if you've enjoyed any of this, check us out on social media and indeed the YouTube channel for this actual show, because there are loads of clips that you can go and look at. And you could sit there and watch 30 episodes again. I'd avoid Eric's birthday one if I were you, but it's up to you.
It's there for posterity's sake, but it was a disaster technologically. If you like watching Skype calls fail, that's the episode for you.
Yeah, it's like those bits where I pretend to be talking to someone and it's just a still picture. It might as well have been that. We could do it a lot easier.
And then it was out of sync for the rest of it. It was, I mean, it was if you wanted to screw up a streamed show, you couldn't have tried to do it.
Yeah,
as well as we did.
Yeah, we did it well. But in this one, I thought the idea when I was, again, out on a run. I do so much of my thinking when I'm out there because I realised there was a row brewing between Donald Trump and Twitter. He tweets more than we do. Apparently, he does the Twitter from the shitter. He sits on his toilet and he tweets out then. And I've not been tweeting as much recently, but I've also not been having as much fibre. So you do the maths. And I came up with an idea of trying to see if I could pick a fight with Twitter and seeing if I'd win or not. Well, let's put it to the test, have a look what happened. And then there's this other thing that Twitter's doing of pointing out which tweets might not be true. I didn't know about it until I saw this video on the weekend.
For the first time, Twitter is flagging some of President Donald Trump's tweets with a fact-checking warning.
Wow, I didn't realize that they could do that. So I tracked down the actual tweet. Here it is.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump, there's no way, zero, his maths is coming on, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Interesting. And then they say, get the facts about mail-in ballots. And if you want to see, because Twitter's added a bit to the tweet that lets you know it might not be true. And it's this bit up there. There it is. There it is. It's the bit after the @ sign. Before it, you could write anything. It's after it that's the important thing. But what I did, I thought if that's the rule, if you lie on Twitter and say that it's true, they will fact check you. I spent my day tweeting out things that aren't true to try and see if I could trigger Twitter.
Nice.
I started off with, actually, a poll says that 95% of Brits went to Barnard Castle during lockdown, so you're wrong, Emily Mateless. And they didn't flag that with a warning about it not being true. So I went for, I just heard Elvis was still alive, but he just died from COVID-19, dang it. They didn't flag that as potentially untrue. Then I moved on to those dong lengthening pills that you see advertised in emails definitely work. I'm not even using my finger on my touchscreen for this. And they didn't flag that as potentially true. But given that I didn't want people to think silly of me on Twitter, I then tweeted, don't worry about those tweets above, I was just being funny. And they put that on it. Get the facts about being actually funny. They're rat bastards. There you go, another of my choice of the clips that I enjoyed knocking together over the last 30 shows.
Lovely stuff. You just knocked that one out, Steve.
A lot of knocking.
That's what we say. That's what we say in America. It's not meaning the same thing. Anyway, yes. Well, we're getting towards the end of our recap specials of looking back at our favorite memories over the last 15 or so weeks. We've had some reoccurring themes. Obviously, Trump's been a big part of the show. Books about Trump have become a part of the show because there's been a lot of books made about Trump, not books that Trump has read. That hasn't really been a theme. No. I don't think. No, because we don't really cover coloring books. But because he's quite proud of the books where he can identify the animal with those cognitive tests that he keeps taking. An elephant. And this one also incorporated another fun feature of the show when we're doing them live, which we will be back doing next week. Join us at 9 o'clock on Tuesday. When we're doing them live, we do a little bit of a quiz and we do a little bit of guessing. So this incorporates the book, a book written about Trump, and then also trying to guess which bits of that book are actually true. So have a look. There's another Trump court case that he's lost.
Wow.
This time they're keeping it within the family because it's regarding a book that's being released that's written by his niece, Mary Trump. It's not in stores yet. We've got a shot of the cover here. You can buy it, I think, somewhere. Mary Trump, Too Much is Never Enough, the Donald Trump story. Basically, it is a tell-all, right? She grew up in the Trump family. She's younger. She's a daughter of Trump's brother. And of course, as soon as so details of the book have been leaking out because it's not yet for sale, but reporters around the country have it. And a reporter went to the White House and he asked the White House, there's this book about Trump's niece, or by Trump's niece, where she says that the Trump is narcissistic. She says that he's a liar. She says that he's self-grandizing. And those are just the nice things. See? Jokes.
I like it.
Every now and then. It was nice. So the reporter brought that to the White House, said, how does Trump feel about this book so far? And this was the response from the White House press secretary.
It's ridiculous, absurd allegations that have absolute no bearing in truth. Have yet to see the book, but it is a book of falsehoods. All right, thank you guys.
That is peak Trump.
That's amazing.
The book is all lies, and I haven't seen it.
That is the same mentality as those people when you say, do you want this for dinner? They're like, oh, I don't like that food. You ever tried it? No.
Yep. My grandfather, every time we went to a Chinese restaurant, he'd get steak. Don't like it. Looks like worms. He was a nice man. Right. Now, Steve, if you remember, John Bolton's book just came out a few weeks ago, former national security advisor to Trump, and that was episode 21, if you'll recall.
Wow.
So it's still online, guys, if you want to catch up on it. And we played a little game in that show because we had that leaked book as well, where we said, let's guess which parts of the book are true and which parts of the book are false, because we know a little bit about what's in the book. And so are you ready to play again, Stephen?
Am I a quiz show contestant again?
You're a quiz show contestant again.
Lovely. Hello, it's nice to be here. I've had a great day so far.
There we go. Good. So let's play which part of Mary Trump's book about her uncle are true. First thing, true or false? Steve, Trump had someone else take exams to help him get into university. True or false?
Oh, well, his mother's not a famous actress from American TV show, and I know they do it a lot, but I'm going to say...
He's a very stable genius, Steve. Remember that.
He's a genius, but he can't do fractions. I'm going to say true.
You are right. Look at that.
Wow.
You're already doing better than last time. All right. So when Trump's brother, Mary's father, was in hospital dying, Trump went to a play instead of going to the hospital to see him.
Wow, I mean, that's low. That is nasty. And even if you want to be a president one day, that's not the kind of presidential thing that you'd mimic. It's less about going to theatres these days, I seem to remember. I know, surely not even Donald Trump would do that.
Well, you're right, Stephen. It is false because he would never go to a play. He went to the movies.
Nice.
Yep. Thank you. See, a little misdirection. I can do it now and then. Trump 1 year ate all of the candy in his niece's Easter basket. True or false?
It's not the worst thing he seems to want to do to a family member, given what he said about his daughter, so I'll say true.
That is false, Steve. I think you're about 50-50 here. I haven't actually paid attention because there's no prizes. Mary Trump says she wrote the book because she fears a second term of her uncle being president would be the end of the American democracy. True or false?
I mean, if she didn't think that, I think a lot of people do. So let's go for, some of the people in the comments are saying true. True.
Well, it's sort of true. She did say that, but it is sort of false as well because the American democracy died the day he was elected the first time. Well, weren't those some happy memories, Steve?
Yeah. Fond memories of lovely warm times.
I feel emotional.
I feel an emotional release.
I don't want to know what that is.
Better put these things on again.
That sounds inappropriate for many of our viewers.
There we go. Safety first.
Yeah. There we go. Science, Steve. I like it. There we go. I mean, this is the end of, we've done 4 episodes of these look backs. We're going to be back next week with normal shows.
With a chance of some change as well. This is what I like about it.
Change.
Yeah.
With time comes change.
Yeah.
My hair will have grown back in a little bit from this brutal. Look, I mean, wow. That's just. That was when she said, "Shall I do a 3?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." I don't know. It'd been so long since I got a haircut. I didn't know how to speak to the hairdresser, and the conversation was pretty stilted. It's like, "Oh, we've been anywhere lately?"
No.
Nope. Going anywhere? Nope. So there will be change. My hair will be longer. Are you still going to be bearded?
No one knows. Absolutely no one knows at this
knows.
time. No. Who knows?
What are you feeling?
might
I mean,
be.
how does it? I mean, does it call to you? Does it say, "Don't let me go, Steve"?
I mean, it's smaller than it was. A trimmed beard I quite like. When I let it get as silly as it was getting, eventually I started to realise it becomes an addiction, that you're constantly touching it, constantly rubbing it, and then going for a run, and then putting a face mask on to go in the shop. So less of that is better. I don't know what else is going to be happening. There is a chance, of course, that when we're back, the Edinburgh Festival is successfully not happening, but is also happening, but not in Edinburgh.
It is. Yep, because I was going to be taking a show up there this year, and that's not. But now I'm doing a show in a way because we're still taking part of the free festival, and our show is going to be featured on their roster of shows. Yeah. So we'll be appearing in addition to our normal platforms on their Twitch channel for the Laughing Horse Free Festival. So that's going to be happening. So we're part of Edinburgh, even though we don't even have to go to Edinburgh, which is actually maybe going to be the best of the Edinburgh Fringe.
I've made it almost the same as actually doing Edinburgh, because what I've done is, yes, we're doing these shows from home, but I have charged myself an extra £3,000 to live here. So,
only $3,000?
Yeah, well, I always shop for a deal.
With you next year.
Always shop for a deal. I've only allowed myself in this room, no longer access the rest of the flat for $3,000.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
We're thinking about the name because we're sort of coming out of lockdown. So I don't know how much longer, in quarantine, how much longer comics in quarantine solving problems makes sense. Because are we in quarantine, really? I mean, they allege from the 1st of August that there might be live gigs indoors. I'm very skeptical about that being a successful endeavor based on the stats that we've been seeing in the U.S. And we'll be, by the time this little recap has run its course, we'll be a couple more weeks into that. Ooh, I'm not optimistic.
So who knows? Different name might mean different logo, different theme tune, and the chance that these might be appearing either live or elsewhere in other places. Basically, we'll have more information for you. But till then, I think, hopefully you've enjoyed the recap and get ready to rock and roll with us on Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
That's it. And if you have enjoyed it, please tell people about the show, subscribe to the show on YouTube. You can obviously, throw us a drink and that kind of thing. But, just keep seeing us on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll catch you then.
Bye.
Bye.